The legendary Pokemon, you probably already know this, Regice, is ready for bone-chilling raid battles. Pokemon's legendary year continues with 3 legendary Pokemon
Originally discovered in the Hoenn region, harnessing the power to take over raid battles in Pokemon GO, starting with Regice on June 21st. This Ice-type legendary Pokemon has a strong defense,
but is weak to fire, fighting, rock, and steel-type attacks. They're giving you hints right there. It's almost like I don't even need to make this video. The presence of the Iceberg Pokemon kicks off a summer of earth-shattering events, as Regirock and Registeel will also roar into gyms worldwide. So right now, we have Regice. Later on in the summer, we're going to switch out to Regirock and Registeel, the Regi trio, Regi coming from the Latin word meaning Nintendo. So we've had Regice for a day already. A lot of you have probably already beaten it and caught it, but here's what you need to know about the first Regi. Regice, as with all the Regi trio, they're more defensive Pokemon. And as we know, you can't put legendary Pokemon in gyms, so they kind of fall in this weird place in Pokemon GO. So as an Ice type, it's pretty good. It has really high defense, so it can be a good tanky Pokemon to use in certain situations. But going by Pokebattler simulations against a raid boss that you would ideally use Ice-type Pokemon against, Rayquaza, if it ever comes back in the future, Regice is ranked 11th overall in DPS against Rayquaza, again because it's more defensive than offensive, but Pokebattler does rank it 2nd overall, because it does have really good defensive stats, meaning it's going to last a long time and deal a decent amount of damage if you're not really pressed for time in your battle against Rayquaza. So in the metagame, it's kind of this tanky alternative to Ice-type attackers like Articuno if you're in a situation where you're not racing against the clock. Now obviously, if you're using it as an Ice-type attacker, you want its Ice-type attacks. Its potential quick moves are Frost Breath and Rock Smash. Its potential charge moves are Blizzard, Focus Blast, and Earthquake. So it can have a double fighting-type moveset, but you probably don't ever want to use it that way. Double ice moves if you're using it offensively. Now as a raid boss, those movesets can be very difficult for a lot of its counters, so choosing your counters for Regice is going to depend a lot on what moves it has, and you can figure that out by what gets recommended to you. Now as far as counters, there are a lot of resources online. You can read this at any number of websites, but I'm going to be referencing Pokebattler and GamePress because they both have similar rankings for their counters. So looking at DPS, these are the Pokemon who are going to beat Regice the fastest in neutral weather, no weather boost. You have Machamp and Moltres at the top. Because of the way GamePress and Pokebattler do their calculations, they each rank them differently, but Machamp and Moltres are the top 2 choices as far as DPS. Next up you have Entei, followed by Blaziken with Counter and Overheat, an interesting split-type moveset there. Flareon, Hariyama, Charizard, Heracross, Breloom, Mewtwo, Metagross, finally Tyranitar with Smackdown and Stone Edge. Now again, you're going to want to adjust your counters based on the weather conditions and the moveset. So I'm going to take a look at sunny weather, very common here in Southern California. This is going to boost all the fire types. So in sunny weather, fire types, Moltres, Entei, even Flareon, Charizard with the Community Day exclusive Blast Burn. And then if you run out of fire types, again, Machamp is a good overall counter regardless of weather. And then outside of those 4, the next best fire types are ones you probably haven't invested Stardust in, but Arcanine, Blaziken, Typhlosion, they can all make decent counters in sunny weather. In my opinion though, you're probably just better off using the Machamps that you have maxed from any number of raids in the past where you've used them. In cloudy weather, fighting types are going to be boosted, so Machamp is obviously number 1, Hariyama moves up to number 2, Blaziken with its fighting type moveset number 3, Heracross becomes a really good choice, Mewtwo with Focus Blast, Breloom even, and then all the fire types after that. So cloudy weather, get the fighting types out, meaning get the Machamps out. And then in partly cloudy weather, finally, with rock boosted, Tyranitar becomes the best overall choice for DPS. Remember, these are DPS rankings that I've been going through. So number 1, take weather conditions into consideration. If one of the types is boosted, fire, fighting, rock, use the boosted type. The last type that's super effective against it is steel. We don't have a ton of great steel attackers. And in snowy weather, ice is also boosted, so that means Regice would be boosted. The second thing, and probably the more important thing to consider, is what moveset does Regice have? If it has its Ice-type moves, you're probably okay. That's the easiest moveset, honestly. All the fire types are going to resist it, so fire types are your best choice. Moltres will be neutral because flying is weak to ice. Charizard, again, neutral. But against Blizzard, against Frost Breath, that's probably the easiest Regice. Against fighting-type moves, Tyranitar is obviously not a good choice at all. Moltres is a good choice because flying resists fire. Ho-Oh can even be a good choice. Again, flying resists fire. But Ho-Oh hasn't been on any of the DPS rankings because it doesn't deal that much DPS. It's tanky, so it'll survive a while, but if you're trying to beat the clock here, Ho-Oh can, wait. Wait until you have more people around. And then finally, the last move is Earthquake, and Earthquake is dangerous against the fire types. Not so much Moltres. Moltres will be neutral, or actually resist Earthquake. But any landlocked fire types, so Entei, Flareon, Blaziken, they are going to suffer against Earthquake, as will Tyranitar. Not as much as against Focus Blast, but Earthquake against Tyranitar will still be super effective. So again, pay attention to the recommendations. If you don't get Tyranitar recommended, that's probably because it has fighting type moves. Don't use Tyranitar. If you don't get Entei, Flareon recommended, that's probably because it has Earthquake. Don't use any grounded fire types. And then when it comes time to actually catch Regice, the numbers you need to know are 1764. That is perfect IVs for a non-weather boosted. And if you live in the southern hemisphere or really high up in the mountains and it's still snowing for you in June, weather boosted is 2205, 2205 CP. Again, Regice is really defensive, as are the rest of the Regis, so Pokebattler simulations show it's going to take about 4 players minimum to beat this. Can't be duoed, can't be trioed. 4 minimum, meaning for less prepared groups, 8 would be comfortable, maybe 7, 6, depending on what counters you have. So hopefully that explains everything you need to know. Here's my first attempt from yesterday. Are you private, or are you just jumping in public?
We can do private. Meow, Bulbasaur, Rat.
Here it is, lots of new friends. Well, everyone knew each other, but in-game friendships happening. And did I get in? Did I not get in? There we go. Oh god, I'm on super low battery, but I'm pulling out the Regicide team. Is it sunny weather? I mean, it's sunny, but I haven't checked the weather in-game in a while. 8 of us. I got a friends bonus with at least Glenn. I didn't get a chance to add everyone before we actually jumped in the lobby. Before my battery dies, first Regice raid in Pokemon GO. Let's go. And the weather looks partly cloudy, which means my Stone Edge Tyranitar, my Smackdown Stone Edge Tyranitar is probably the best counter here. Really should have brought a charger out today, but I just wanted to skate. What was that? Oh, I didn't even pay attention to recommendations for to figure out the moveset, but that was Focus Blast, wasn't it? Oh, it's clear. It's clear. Fire Spin and Fire Blast, both boosted. My Moltres is not powered up. Kind of saving Stardust for other things now. Not boosted, and also this Focus Blast is going to take my Tyranitar down so fast. Is it Rock Smash too? I think everyone's having an issue right now. Nothing's happening.
What do you do? Reset it?
We're all lagging.
We're all lagging out.
We're all stuck on red.
I think we could beat it still. Good, I hope you guys fail so I can jump in. Still counting down, bro, so it's tripping me out.
Took a couple tries. I'm tethered to Glenn now because I didn't bring my charger out. How is this catch? How's the throw? 1741 is pretty good. Oh wow, you could have hit him on the point of the head? What is that? Alright, it's not a super far throw. It's like a pretty reasonable throw there. A little more this way.
Because all I see on your face is...
There we go. Right on the tip. The trainer tip? Got it. What is that angle? This way. You're looking at it. To resist Focus Blast also. Yeah.
Alright. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're the man.
You got it? That was your first catch?
I didn't play all day yet.
Oh, you got a big one. Wow.
I'll name it in the wrong because it's big.
Thank you.
Excellent.
I don't want to hear that.
Please.
Delete.
Wow.
God.
Oh, yeah. I did this first then.
I can say that you were my first friend.
Come on. I've been consistent.
Why you say it out loud for, man? It's gonna be in the video now.
This guy doesn't like me.
You did that on purpose.
Let's go. Let's go.
Okay. Took a while. Got it though.
Second last one.
First new Pokedex entry in a while. God, my phone's laggy. It's hot out here. Nice. There we go. Frost Breath, Earthquake. 15 attack. In case I ever use it.